What is up, Culture Junkies? We're here with Culture Junkies Live, episode 201, if you're counting. Today, we're going to be talking about watching the... I went to go see My Hero Academia movie 2, just came out today. We're also going to talk about Toy Fair, and talk about the WWE streaming right thing. We're also going to talk about DC's Big Gamble, and they're taking a very big narrative gamble that could end up being very devastating for them. But first, let me introduce who's going to be on the show with me today. To my right, Mr. GQ. What's up, bro?
I'm taller than everybody in the room at the moment, so that's always a good thing.
Taller. What's that pin on you? Oh, look at that! It's a Culture Junkies pin. He's all official and everything.
I've always been official.
Okay, awesome.
From birth.
Sitting across from me, feeling a little under the weather. This is Great Adakuji. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, trying to hang in there. Wish I was at home laying in my bed, but you know what? I'm here because this is what we do, and this is how we do when we do what we do, and when we do that, and how we do it.
All right, then. Meow Yin checking in. What's up, lady?
Hello, all you happy people and all you poor, unfortunate souls.
And you also saw him on the screen for a split second there, Mr. Fallen Marvel. How you doing, my friend?
I am doing rather well this evening. So we just getting ready to get into some more pop culture phenomenons this week.
Absolutely, great stuff. If you're just joining the show, make sure that you share the feed and get everybody in here because we're going hot. We're going hot right now.
Mixed reaction.
All right, everybody. So I went to see My Hero Academia. Just in the theaters. It debuted today, and it's actually doing a pretty decent theater run over the next week and a half or so. It's playing in a lot of theaters nationwide. Funimation is doing a really big push and putting a lot of their movies in the theaters to give us, longtime anime fans kind of like an authentic experience that they get over there in Japan with regular anime movie releases. So let me get right to the review of the film itself. So the film itself is okay, and there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, what I mean by that is that we've seen anime movies over the years, right? Like we've had 16 Dragon Ball movies.
Oh gosh, it's been 16.
Yeah, 16. We've had 16
Wow.
Dragon Ball Z movies, right? We've had any number of original video animations turned into feature films. A lot of the really popular anime, they get, feature-length films. And a lot of them usually kind of stick to their guns and kind of don't really stray too far from the formula. You've got a few exceptions out there. You've got your Castle of Cagliostro, like Lupin the Third, which is not necessarily another episode of Lupin, but it's like a really rompous caper. You've got, of course, the Miyazaki films, which ironically Miyazaki did do the Castle of Cagliostro as well. Yeah, he did. And in fact, that's why they consider that one of the better Lupin films of all time anyway. But in general, they kind of stick to the script. And My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising, kind of does that. They take the heroes, the kids of Class 1A, they put them on a remote island, get them in situations where they kind of have to, display their powers and rescue people. It doesn't really push the narrative forward. They try and trick you with a little bit of kind of subterfuge by saying that, this story is going to be like almost like the final My Hero Academia movie because something happens in there that could technically be the end of the series. It's bullshit. It's not. It doesn't happen that way. It's full of some pretty, high-paced action, as one would expect. And of course, there is that one moment that they have where they kind of go balls to the wall with the animation, and they have like this one final epic moment where the hero's facing off against the villain, and the film is kind of resolved, nice and neatly tied in a bow, and it's back to your regular scheduled programming. I mean, because this thing is a cash cow. They're not going to do anything really to jeopardize it and kind of maybe possibly ruin things for them by kind of like giving it a sense of finality at the end of everything. So they basically put everything back in its place at the end of the movie. They don't really move the story forward. It's kind of an aside. It doesn't even take place. I mean, narratively, you could say it takes place after the whole thing with the Yakuza and the Quark erasing bullet or technology or whatever that they have, and ties into that. But there's nothing really, inherently really special about it. It's a nice, decent movie, and there's nothing really wrong with that. Comments?
Well, didn't see it for whatever reason, and it's just me personally. As much as I like anime, whenever they come out with a movie of a anime series that's already going on, I don't have any interest to see it for the most part, because again, it's almost like filler episodes. When you have filler episodes in most anime, a lot of people, they don't care to watch it. Some people do watch it, but it's just meaningless. You watch it, then you may have some enjoyment with it. If you don't watch, you're not missing anything. It's like that with all the Naruto movies. It's like that with the Bleach movies. I'm pretty sure it's like that because I haven't seen that in My Hero Academia. The only movies that I really, really enjoy watching them, and I haven't watched too many. When I say anime movies like this, I'm not talking about things that have standalones. I enjoy most of the standalones way better than those have series, but Dragon Ball movies were probably the only one. Dragon Ball Z movies were the only ones that I really enjoyed because it was just more of what I liked, and it didn't really mess with anything. It was contained in their own, thing, and it didn't try to, leak into the series
Into the story, and this is kind of what this does.
So it does. I mean, I want to watch it. I'm not gonna say I'm just turned off by it. But if I'm gonna watch an anime movie, typically I'd rather it be like a one-shotter. Back in the day when we used to watch those Vampire Hunter D's Fist of North Star. For me, Project Eagle was my favorite. Those were great movies, and I haven't seen too many standalone anime movies recently that I really care to see. I mean, I've seen some of the new Ghost in the Shell ones. I see, what the heck's that one that came out that was, I don't know. What did we watch in the theater? Was a while ago.
Dragon Ball Broly?
No, we saw that, not Dragon Ball, but it was Ponyo. That was a Miyazaki
Oh,
one.
yeah, Ponyo, yeah.
But yeah, it was just like those. Ponyo I didn't really care too much for, but regardless of that, but most of them, I typically like it that way. It's just something about it. It's like with anime video games. For whatever reason, I just don't really care to play anime video games. I don't know what is about them that I just like, besides the ones that are based, fighting game ones, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I probably only played twice by myself for like a hot second. And the Hokuto no Ken, that one is great for PlayStation 2. I thought that was really good. But that's also made by Arc System Works, who knows how to make some goddamn good fighting games, as well as Dragon Ball FighterZ. So, I don't know. Maybe when it comes out on DVD. I said DVD. Wow. I said DVD. Look at the old man in this one. Watch that DVD.
That's right. You're right.
I don't know. I mean,
What is that?
All right. Anybody else got any
what is
comments on My Hero?
Well,
Were you looking forward to see
real
it?
quick, John P. in the chat. What's up over to John P. over there on YouTube?
What's up,
He
John?
said that OVA was the anime back in the day. Like,
of course.
The production quality and everything was insane. And I definitely agree. I mean, it's, like you say, this is Funimation kind of, bringing it back and giving it to the fans and bringing anime into theaters, and that's great. I would have honestly loved to have seen like Fist of the North Star, Ninja Scroll, some of that original stuff in the theater.
Ninja Scroll would never make it in the theaters.
Yeah,
I don't think. I don't know, man.
Yes, it would.
I don't know.
All you have to do is release it as either unrated, R, or not for children. And you just go from there, because Ninja Scroll, outside of the sex scene, there's nothing really there that you haven't seen in an R-rated movie.
Okay. Fair.
So Ninja Scroll.
And how often do people read ratings before they go into movies?
Deadpool, anyone?
Yeah, I mean, but
look, I don't care.
the girl got raped in like the beginning by the rock guy, so that's a little bit different than the sex scene with the.
Right.
But the thing is, I look at it this way: if you can release 50 Shades of Grey in the theater, you can release Ninja Scroll in the theater.
You should be able to.
If you can release.
I wouldn't compare those two, but
Well, yeah, but the thing is, the sexual, quote unquote, deviancy is what people were basically worried about. So
I would say more of like a Rob Zombie movie. That's what
Explain
I would
that.
compare it to.
Explain that. What do you mean?
So, like, it's 50 Shades of Grey is not like true sexual deviancy at all. It's like for bored housewives. It's not like really like crazy sex stuff going on in it. It's not. it's very tame.
I know it's tame, but at the same time, it's still the same standard and idea behind it. You also have Eyes Wide Shut, which was
That's a better comparison.
more like over the top and ridiculous and blah blah blah. So again, I look at it this way: I don't care about the parents. I don't care what they didn't read. I don't. It's like we all sat in the theater in Sausage Party, and kids were in the theater.
Yeah.
Those parents were dumb.
Yeah.
So that's their fault.
Well, yeah.
That's their fault.
There were children in the theater when I went to go see John Wick 3 for the third time. So.
Yeah. There are always going to be kids in a rated R theater because you got two types of parents. You got the parents that are dumb as shit, they don't pay attention to ratings, and that's why, you know, you get all these complaints. And then you got the parents that's like, you know what? I am the parent, and I will decide what goes through my parents' eyes because I'm raising my kids to be able to understand stuff and raising my kids to be able to not necessarily be dummies to just stuff. So I personally think that you're always gonna get you're always gonna get it. So it's not gosh, I know my dad wasn't like that growing up. I didn't get to go see Terminator 2. He went to go see Terminator 2, and I had to go see Naked Gun 22 and a half. 22 and a half. Yeah.
I think it was,
Yeah.
no, 33 and the third was the third one.
Yeah, I went to 22 and a half.
2 and a half was the
Second one. I remember going to see that, and then that movie ended early, and me and my brother still snuck in the Terminator 3, or 2, rather, because his movie wasn't done yet. And we didn't have what were we going to do? Just sit in the lobby?
Well, about to say, if you sneaking in the Terminator 3, something's wrong. Cause
I went to the future.
By then, you're a little bit too old to be talking about sneaking in the Terminator 3. But
In the future. But yeah, so.
Well, actually, I might go see Hero in the theater because there are some anime movies that I really enjoy. So. But it depends on the anime, of course, because I really enjoy all the Inuyasha movies and all of the.
I like the Ranma One Half movies. That's also Rumiko Takahashi.
What is it? Cowboy Bebop, of course. Like I enjoy those movies.
Space
so
Cowboy.
That was a great one to see in the theater.
Yeah, so I was like, I might go see it because. I haven't seen all the episodes, so I'm not one of those folks that are just like super invested in all of that. But I like the idea of the film, so might go watch it if I have time.
Rock Lock.
Yeah, if anything, the movie would make you want to watch the series because the movie doesn't really give or take away anything from the show at all. So it's definitely one of those things that stands alone on its own and makes you wonder, like, wow, like I really like these characters. I want to watch the rest of the series. So that's why, like, I really do like some of the old school OVAs and stuff because a lot of times they do stand on their own. Sometimes they might throw in a little nugget from the show here and there sometimes. But you know, hopefully I get a chance to check out My Hero as well. So I gotta like check to see when it's playing out here because I don't even know if they even brought like any official showtimes out here. Yeah, I'll be looking for it though.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and switch up. Moving on to the very next topic.
Sample the merchandise.
All right, so we know that New York's Toy Fair just happened this past weekend. I think it just ended yesterday. I think it was the last day for the Toy Fair. Obviously, you know, GQ over here is a collector of many fine things. Not necessarily, he doesn't consider them toys. Do you?
No, not really.
Okay, all right.
Not really. I mean, you know, people like to go through action figures, dolls, toys, all the different whatever. I lumped them all into collectibles.
Of course not. Of course. Why would you ever think of them otherwise? So, obviously, there's a lot of really great stuff that came out of Toy Fair. Of course, Super Nerd Plus, who's not on the show as of right now, he wanted to talk about this, but of course he was geeking out over the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers toys, or really, actually I shouldn't say, they're not even called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers anymore. They're just called Power Rangers, and they're getting ready to go into season 26. Austin St. John is coming back as Jason again, as the Red Ranger this time.
But which Red Ranger?
No, the original Red Ranger.
No, I know he is the original, but is he coming back as the original?
Yes. He's got his Dino Morpher and everything. I mean,
back to Gold.
I mean,
when he was
dude, the Gold Ranger was so
when he
dope.
showed up.
Oh, the Gold Ranger was so dope. Anyway, so they had a lot. Hasbro was showcasing a lot of their toys. From the Power Rangers line that they're getting ready to come out with, but Hasbro also had a lot of G.I. Joe toys that a lot of people were making a lot of bones about. So I wanted to ask you guys on the panel, what was kind of the stuff you saw that you just were salivating over at Toy Fair this year? You got one?
No. I mean, okay, so like,
why you say it like that, man? Damn.
I'm very sorry if that came off all weird, but no. I mean, I guess I'm a weird one now. I really don't care about the toys and collectibles anymore because collectibles to me just collect dust because you just sit there and look at them, and unless you got somebody who is meticulous as this guy sitting over here, dusting them every day, that's the only enjoyment you get. Like,
hey, so I do want to ask him actually. Yeah. So what is your cleaning process? Do you wear rubber gloves? Do you dust them boys down like you're Alfred in Wayne Manor or something like that?
The ones that are outside of the showcase actually do need to be dusted. Realistically, the way the IKEA Detolf, IKEA send a check, the IKEA.
Wait a minute. Do you put the name in there too? The name of the thing, the Detolf?
Have you ever tried searching at IKEA for anything like?
Hell no, man. No, I ain't done all that.
Or whatever. If you don't even remotely get close to the name, you ain't gonna find nothing on their website.
Okay.
Like, at all.
All right.
Like ever.
Okay.
So, yes, the IKEA Detolf. That's the actual official name of those shelves that I have that you see in the unboxing videos. Unfortunately, they do let dust in because they're not completely sealed. When they're closed,
I bet you wish they were vacuum sealed, though, don't you?
It would help, but no, realistically, like those don't get all that dusty because I think the main thing that people forget about, and this is just veering off real quick, the main thing that people forget about when they display stuff is they try to put a whole bunch of stuff on one shelf instead of not so much making a theme out of the shelf, but like, okay, for example, the reason I do sideshows is because they're big, they're dynamic, they look like little miniaturized versions of whichever actor or character or whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't need to put like 4 or 5 of them on the same shelf because that's just going to look cluttered. So since you only have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 max on a shelf, it's easy to clean because it's okay. Move Captain America out the way, dust around his area or whatever, put him back, and you're basically done. Or for example. With Thanos isn't neither one of the 2 Thanos that I have are in the case.
It's too big because you got one with the chair, right? And then you got the one standing up, right?
Yeah, and then himself is like the more scaled version to what he looked like in Infinity War is huge. Yeah. So those they're on a shelf on their own. So yeah, that does take a little bit more because that shelf does have Marvel stuff on it all the way from one side to the other. So
dude, I can't even imagine him can you imagine this guy? He's reaching around everything, almost taking it with a feather duster and touching it lightly, make sure it doesn't knock down or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Got the gloves on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feather duster and got that little bit of air spray.
Yeah,
but yes, absolutely. Some of the stuff I think that came out of it that were interesting. Mind you, my form of interesting means, wow, that's cool. I'm not buying it. Was them bringing back stuff from the 80s. I think it's kind of crazy that they're bringing back the Ghostbuster toys, the Kenner Ghostbuster toys. It's like the same mold.
Yes.
That's coming back. I think that's kind of cool.
Walmart exclusive too, by the way.
Well, yeah. And then Tiger Electronics is bringing back the friggin'.
Dude, what?
You got Game
Dude, weren't we talking about this before? The Tiger Electronics thing?
Switch. You got Nintendo Switch. You got Game Boy DSs. People out there still got Game Boy Advances and the 3DSs. You got all this other stuff. And they're bringing back these LCD Tiger Electronic handheld things that's all. Okay, I won't say that's all we had because back in the day you did have the Game Boy, but if your parents didn't want to buy your Game Boy or Lynx or Game Gear, you got those $20 Tiger Electronics, and there was a lot of people out there that had quite a few of them. And I just remember having the Castlevania one, which I thought was cool, and I had the Double Dragon, and I think I had the Batman one. And I might have had more than that, but I don't remember all of them
Right.
because
Those were collectibles. Man.
they were definitely fun.
collectibles.
I don't see, and that's something I wish it was kind of cool. All my toys as a kid, collectibles, I have nothing of it because I had a little brother, I had little cousins, and they played with them, they broke them, whatever happened with them, and they were gone. The only thing that I have from my childhood, and I don't know if you count being 16 years old a childhood, is my original PlayStation and the game that I got with it. I still have that.
Okay.
So everything else is gone.
All right, answer that question. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, out of the chat, I think it was John and over in YouTube was asking, how do I clean? What do I use to clean? Real quick, you've got a couple of different things. For the shelves themselves, because they actually are wood shelves, I use like Lemon Pledge, that sort of type of stuff for the shine and the sheen. And it also has like kind of a so-called dust repellent. Basically, all it is, they made it kind of staticky. And that somewhat works, but again, depending on the area you're in, you might accumulate dust more quickly. I never use microfiber on any of the actual figures themselves, especially sideshow stuff, because a lot of them have fabric clothing. So all you're going to do is just make it worse by like rubbing fabric against fabric if you're trying to get rid of dust. So yeah, every now and again, pull out a one of those computer keyboard air dusters, and you can just kind of real light puffs of air to and again, for me it never gets to that point, but if you do have some dust that's like collecting or whatever, then you can just hit them with that little can of air. But as far as the Tokyo Game Show itself,
Toy Fair, not
well,
Tokyo
no, I'm
Game
sorry.
Show.
See, I'm ready to talk about Resident Evil, as you can tell.
I hear you.
But I'm sorry. The New York Toy Fair, the Toka and Razor from Teenage Mutant Ninja
Yeah, I
Turtles.
forgot about that.
Those look really good. I think it's NECA Toys or NECA. They've been doing an amazing job at those.
They were the same ones that did that, the Batman and the like the Freddy from Friday the 13th, the NES game, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
They do the smaller, which would be more like a 7th or maybe even 10th scale versions. Like they have the Batman from the video game that's wearing like the more purple costume and stuff like that. But they also do quarter scale, which is usually ranging right around. Not quite 2 feet, but like 1.5 feet. Obviously a little bit bigger than the 6 scale of Sideshow. And those look amazing. I mean, they've done all of the movie. They've done the movie Turtles, like they've done the movie Turtles with the trench coats on. They've done now they've done Shredder from the movie with that more reddish outfit with that black and silver cape. They've done a lot of good stuff. And then the Toka and Razor that they did show at the show looks like you literally just grabbed them on the screen and pulled them through the screen. All right. And here they are. And the detail on them, especially. Razor is the wolf, so he's got like the little. I think he was the one that had the trash can shield and like the trash can armor. Yeah. And then Toka, the turtle. Oh my goodness, they got all those spikes and everything in place, and it looks screen accurate.
He looked cool, man.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure those are retail for like starting off. You're gonna see them at places like. What is that? FYE and Spencer's and stuff like that. Both of y'all send a check. You'll see them probably retailing like right around $150 or maybe a little bit less, depending. But those look freaking amazing though.
Okay.
I remember seeing those do.
What do you, Yayin and Fallen? You guys got any ones that you kind of were looking forward to?
I can't say it was too many I was looking forward to, but I did check out like a lot of the stuff they were bringing back. Like I saw, what was it? Like you guys mentioned the Ghostbusters, and then like I saw the Power Rangers line, and then like I saw something when Todd McFarlane was bringing back a lot of stuff from like '95, which I think is pretty cool. So like that was something, and then of course like for everybody that loved the Mandalorian this past fall season, we got the child, aka Baby Yoda, down the line. And
by the way, nobody will never not call him Baby Yoda.
Yeah, they're gonna keep calling him Baby Yoda.
I mean, we're not
saying that.
We're not, because no one is gonna say the child. Like that sounds so vague.
Eddie Murphy movie. That's what it sounds like.
The Golden Child.
Exactly. Right.
Yes.
Like there should just be saying the Golden Child at that point.
Yes.
It's just like nah. Like we're calling him Baby Yoda until y'all give him a name. So him or her a name. I don't know. So
well, I think it's because we've only ever had 2 of them ever before, and it was Yoda and Yaddle. So like
yeah, and it's
so,
like his everything with regarding his species just has so much mystery behind it. So we don't know what his race is called, where it originated from, any of that stuff. So it all was still shrouded in mystery.
I'm gonna
But
call him Yo-Yo.
yeah, that might work. But yeah, like so far, like I did see a lot of like those were some things that stuck out to me. As far as the toy fair thing, it's pretty dope. A lot of the stuff is pretty dope. I may be looking more to some of like those Power Rangers figures though, because I see like some of them they did pull from the Boom comics, and some of those designs I really liked. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for
Ooh,
those.
okay. Yeah, those Boom comics was on point. What about you, Myan?
Yeah.
Anything catch your eye? Is
she
she
disappear?
not there?
Did she disappear?
Oh, she fell out. She fell out.
She's
Just
out. I mean,
like
she could at least tell us that she's just gone
Right,
somewhere.
just gonna leave.
Yeah, I mean, that's so rude. That's
I don't
so
know.
rude.
I mean, the thing is,
Yeah.
realistically, though, I mean, granted, I haven't been following it as closely as most people think I would. Only reason for that is really a lot of these toy fairs, they bring out a lot of prototype stuff. Or, you know, some of the stuff is very early in development. So it's like by the time you actually get it, like, for example, the NECA ones, those are done. I mean, like the way those look, that's finished product. That's what's about to go to production.
Yeah.
But like some of the other stuff you see, even from like the DC Universe and some of the other collectible lines, like you're seeing like the gray, non-painted, you know, early builds of figures. So it's just like, okay, yeah, the shape is cool, but okay, if it hits that paint process and it looks like crap, then I'm all hyped and ready to get something, and then the paint looks like crap, or the final pose isn't what you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's part of the reason. Like, for Sideshow, for example, like we were looking at it in pre-show. We were looking at, you know, talking about him again, the child for Sideshow, and he's going to be a little life-size statue, about 16 inches tall or 16 and a half inches tall, and it's $350. So it's like, okay, well, damn it, for that much, he better talk and force choke
He better
people.
actually
He better do something. But at the end of the day, it's like I can't even get hyped for that. It's like, okay, yeah, that's cute, that's cool, but his release date is like August 2020, or release window rather is August 2020 to maybe January 2021. So we're talking about almost a year. You know, anywhere from like 5 months to maybe an entire year from now. It's like I can't really get hyped for that. It's like, okay, well. You know,
Call me when you actually are ready to release.
Exactly.
You know?
Like when I can throw some money down and get it, cool. But
Right.
like if I'm just looking at it and I might not see it for half a year.
Right. I hear you.
You know.
And they probably waiting for that second season drop of the whole, until they do it.
Right.
Possibly, but I mean, even like for example, Sideshow is notorious for giving you that hype, but it's a year off. And then, like for example, like one of the things I'm going to get from them is the sword of Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride. The problem with that is that sword was supposed to come out next month. Now I look on their website, that thing got pushed back all the way to maybe November. So I'm like,
Ouch.
like, okay, I had like, you know, $400 sitting aside waiting for you guys so I get this sword, and now you pushed it way back. I might not even think about it anymore. So you know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of the problem with the world of collectibles. They prototype stuff so far in advance. And again, I get it. You want to build hype. You want to build, you know, like, you know, whatever. But
and you bring up a really good point too. Speaking of their prototyping and stuff, because a lot of things, you know, we got to wrap this up really fast. But one of the side effects of the toy fair is that a lot of spoilers come out. So, like, they were saying that some details of Ghostbusters Afterlife were spoiled because of the toys that they were showcasing at the toy fair. I think this happened with Endgame too.
Oh yeah.
It has happened really with any big release that before the movie actually comes out in the summer, like all the summer blockbusters. Some of their bigger details get spoiled at the toy fair because they got to show off these places.
Well, even going back to Infinity War. I'm thinking a lot of people. Now again, you can get mad about the Hulk thing or whatever all you want.
Oh, you know they
But
will.
a lot of people were like expecting Hulk to bust out of the Hulkbuster because there was a toy that had Hulk busting out of the Hulkbuster. So you know what I'm saying? So people were going off of that and thinking, oh, that's what's in the movie, and it's
Next
like
level subterfuge.
right. So it's like, nah,
Nice.
dude. Like we have our story that we're telling. I don't give a damn what the toys are showing you or whatever. And like we even saw with Civil War, Ant-Man, Giant Man, basically got spoiled
by the toys.
So I mean, sometimes I think these, and again, I get it. The manufacturers, they got to do what they got to do to build their hype, get their profits up. But at the end of the day, certain things should be secret. I don't care, how, whatever. You're gonna sell it because people are like, dude, I want a big Ant-Man right now because I just saw it at the movie. Oh yeah, by the way, we have one of those too in the line. We just couldn't show it.
Something like
come
that.
On. Something like that.
Some things they should keep behind closed doors, and not necessarily show. All right, y'all. Let's move on and get ready to kick it into high gear. You guys ready?
This week in gaming.
All right, y'all. So as you can see, it's this week in gaming time. So we're gonna hit the intermission. We'll be right back.
Culture Junkies!
Yes. That was This Week in Gaming. Oh my goodness, it was a lot of classics that came out during this same exact week that we're in right now. Just a couple years removed. Starting off from the beginning. I'm going to obviously turn it back over to Kenshiro in a second, but Heavy Rain. Do you remember that game? I mean, do you guys remember that game?
Heavy Rain, I remember playing, right? So, like Heavy Rain was that game. I was just like visually looking at it. I was like, dude, this game's amazing. Like, I've never played anything quite like this on the PS3. The graphics were just so lovely. The ambiance surrounding it was great, and you kind of got into it. But I couldn't help that. Even though it was beautiful, and even though it was very slow paced, it was pretty boring. To admit.
Wasn't it basically a quick time event game? So,
yes, it was.
Yeah. And I think that's part of why I don't think I ever picked it up, but it was Ashura's Wrath that came out. Mm-hmm. And it was like, okay, it's a little bit more action-oriented, but at the end of the day, it's still a quick-time event game for the entire game. And I'm like, I don't really know if it's like, look, the birth of that was Dragon's Lair all the way back in the day, a Laserdisc game that some of you was like, wait, what are you talking about? It was an arcade game that was developed by Don Bluth and I forgot which particular company, but Don Bluth did the animation. And the animation in that game was amazing. But that game basically was a QuickTime event game, and it was challenging as all get out, but also partially due to the limitations of the hardware itself. Has been re-released millions of times in a whole bunch of different formats. Yeah, DVDs,
maybe Blu-ray.
I think there is a Blu-ray of it now. But either way it goes, it's like the game itself was cool, but it was a QuickTime event. So I mean, like with Heavy Rain, it's that same feel, but now obviously it's more cinematic, it's more storytelling and all that sort of thing, which was cool. Dido, did you ever play it, or
I played the demo of it, and just as you're saying, it's not something that would engross me. I mean, it's not saying I probably wouldn't have an enjoyment, playing and getting through the story and seeing what the heck is going on, because every once in a while I like games like that because excuse me, I think the Telltale games are kind of similar. I mean, and they were fun to get through the story and whatnot, but I just wasn't in a rush to get that one. And I think the same people that made Heavy Rain, I think didn't they make Detroit Becoming Human or something like that?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And I wanted to buy that game just because it's named after my favorite city, and but I didn't, and then they gave it away for free on PlayStation Network, whatever. So of course I downloaded, but I have not played it yet, and I can't tell you when or if I'm going to play it because there's so much. Oh, I hate talking like this, but so much stuff I want to play.
Okay, well, just talk about the game that actually on the list that you saw that you did love.
Oh, I did play. It was most definitely Mark of the Wolves or Garou, Mark of the Wolves. That game,
sir.
Yeah, when that came out for the Dreamcast, it was I bought it for the Dreamcast. I'm not rich enough to own a Neo Geo.
No,
Right.
there was
Right.
very few people
Right.
that were.
No, there was nobody in our friends group except for supposedly one, and I never saw it because it's that thing. He said he had a Neo Geo cartridge. Never saw it with my own eyeballs at all. And yeah, so
Who you saying? Thomas?
no,
Oh.
Brian.
Brian? Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he told me he had a Neo Geo cartridge, and I was like, oh, that's kind of
That's
cool.
true. He never did produce that.
Yeah,
boy,
I
did he?
never seen it with my own
Like I
eyeballs.
said, the only person I ever ran into that had a Neo Geo was when I was my college roommate. A friend of his had a Neo Geo, and it wasn't one of those, like you said, I've never, can't bring it out the house. You know what I'm saying? No, he didn't even go to the school. But on weekends, every now and again, he would just come through, and he had Neo Geo with like a bunch of different games. Like he had Magical Drop on cartridge. He had, of course, King of Fighters and stuff like that on cartridge. So it was like, this dude had, he had it. It was like, I played it. Played the actual thing. So like, yeah, the Neo Geo was one of those kind of, for a lot of people, is vaporware or just schoolyard bragging.
Yeah.
Because come on, $250 per cartridge.
Oh,
Back in the day.
Yeah, and they didn't drop in price.
No, they
dude.
never did. They just stayed up.
Even
it's
now.
You know what the funny thing is? There was a store in Novi called Laser Quest that actually used to have Neo Geo on just how GameStop and FuncoLand and whatnot would have like
On
systems
display.
out.
Yeah, on display.
They had a Neo Geo on display.
Dope.
It was like that because that was the first time I ever played that one Ninja game, like the 2-player Ninja game. I forgot which Ninja Spirit, I believe, or it was one of those. Anyway,
Sounds like it.
yeah, they had that on display, and I played that thing for like at least an hour just at the store, just a standard. Because and the funny thing is, it's like they're not going to kick me out of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But I think what it was, the owner had never seen anybody get as far as I got because everybody would play it and just because again, it's
Right.
it's video games. All the older people were there to buy like Laserdisc players and crap.
Right.
So it was just like. It was one of those weird interesting things, but yeah, Mark of the Wolves, man.
It's an amazing game. I actually saw the cartridge. I never saw a Neo Geo cartridge until I was like in my 20s when we were at the Game Spot. It was a place, Men the Merciless. We called him Men the Merciless because his name was Men, and he was pretty merciless when it came to trade-ins and whatnot. But he was a cool guy, and he had a copy for himself for Mark of the Wolves, and I didn't know how big those cartridges were. I never seen one with my own eyes until that day, and I was just like, wow. And I think he wanted like $400 or something for it, and I'm just like, it's way too rich for my blood. So yeah, the Dreamcast one was the one that I played and bought, and we were just talking recently because I had a copy of it, and somehow it disappeared out of my collection, one of the many few that have disappeared. And I was talking to my friend Brian, the one who said he had a cartridge, and he freaking was like, he came over one day and was like, here you go, because I heard that your disappeared, and here's a copy. And I was just like,
Nice.
oh, dude, that's freaking amazing.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
One of the that's one thing that I don't think I've ever gotten around to doing is buying just a Neo Geo cartridge just to have. You know, I don't have this, you know, the actual system, just to have a Neo Geo cartridge. Even I don't, you know, it's almost like I don't even care what game it is. I just want a full-size Neo Geo cartridge one of these days, and I think it was an AES case or whatever they were called, or something.
Yeah, the AES.
Yeah.
AES was the home system. MVS was the arcade
yeah.
system. I was looking into it because they have consoleized. If you go on Alibaba, you can get a consoleized MVS, and they sell like cartridges that got like 200 games or whatnot on a cartridge.
Okay.
And I was like, that would be complete. But then at the same time, it's just like, that's not.
Right.
It's not the
not the
thing. That's
same.
not. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of want the same. But the even the systems. I'm looking on eBay right now, and a system, a working system, is still $400 just for the system. And I'm just like, they did not drop in price at all. And look at this, Samurai Showdown 2, $220 for the cartridge.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
nuts.
Fallen,
Yeah.
Fallen. Which one? What was the game that you saw that came out this week that you liked? Other than Garo.
Well, other than the ones you guys mentioned,
Yeah.
Obviously, Tenchu Stealth Assassins.
Oh yeah, that was
that-
really good.
Dude, that was one of the
That
dopest
right
soundtracks
there-
on PS1s I've ever heard. That soundtrack on
It
PS1
did.
was just incredible. It was
Yeah,
incredible.
yes, it was. Yes,
From
it
the
was.
opening
Like,
intro and everything, it was just dope.
Exactly. Like the opening intro was like that will always be like one of my go-tos. And the other one that I saw that I to this day I hate I never got a chance to play
To
it
this day.
was Jet Set Radio Future.
Jet Set
That one.
Radio Future.
Okay.
I only
I
played that
played
for a hot second.
I played the hell out of the first one. I can't tell you how many hours I put in the first one, and I wanted to play it, but I didn't want to get an Xbox to get it. So it's it was one of those games that got away in the end. Hopefully, I get a chance to play it again in the foreseeable future. But yeah, those are the ones that stood out the most that I could think of because I'm trying to like replay the video in my head and try to remember what I saw. But
Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Xenoverse. You play that one? I don't remember which one.
I mean,
Yeah, it was
I
Xenoverse
did. I
one.
never finished it though. I never finished it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a decent game. It was a
Dude,
decent
man,
game.
look. I don't know what it is with people playing Dragon Ball games. Like we talked about this already last week, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you played Xenoverse, if you played Budokai, if you played any of this, the only original Dragon Ball game that I feel like that hasn't been the same thing over the past like 15 years is Dragon Ball FighterZ. I mean, that's it. Like literally, that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there's a thing up there for fighters. We'll get to it in a minute, but
We sure
I mean,
will.
But fighters did what we actually wanted Dragon Ball to do. It mixed in that feel of the anime with the play style of like a Marvel versus Capcom type of thing, and it it blends well. So out of the YouTube, appreciate you, John P over there. Yeah, it was Ninja Combat. That was the name of the game. I do remember Ninja Combat. There was another one called Ninja Commandos, but Ninja Combat is the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That game was
that's
all
what's
sorts
up.
of fun.
That's what's up.
So one of the ones that I wanted to bring up actually was there anybody that had any love for Xenosaga Episode 1? Like,
I
never
already have
played
it.
I think
I
I have
actually
it
have
too,
it.
but
you
I
know
haven't
what?
played it.
I've tried to understand
I think I have it.
the cult following for that game. Like, it's supposed to be, it was the follow-up to Xenosaga, and everybody loves Xenosaga. Xenosaga was like an incredible, I mean, not Xenosaga, Xenogears. Everybody loved Xenogears back in the day on PS1, right? So when Xenosaga comes out, and it's like nothing like Xenogears, like as far removed from Xenogears as you could possibly get. And people just love this game for some reason.
Which
I don't know why. Episode
I
1.
mean,
It was episode
yeah,
1.
I
Did
do have
Namco
it.
buy
Never
that
played
in? Did Namco literally buy that IP and made a sequel? Was that legit a sequel?
It wasn't legit. It was the spiritual successor. It was the next one in that
Okay.
in that line.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, I just don't. So you tell me why you like Xenosaga, and that'll be the last one.
I thought the thing is, aside, like my only real issue with the game was, I think a lot of the exploration of the game I think felt a bit stiff, but the characters were interesting enough for me to stay along with it. And the more I got into it, the more intriguing I would say basically the world that they were building in this was like I thought it was interesting enough, and it was sort of in the same vein of how, but not completely like the same way Star Ocean felt in a way. And to this day, like that's one of the games that like I can never go back to because it made me rage so much. Like Star Ocean to the end of time, like I still refuse to go back to that game. But it's kind of like in the same vein as that. It could have been like some other things that probably could have been a little bit more polished about it. But for the most part, I thought it was a pretty solid game. Like I enjoyed it when I played it.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I don't remember beating it myself, but I do remember getting pretty far. But at the end, even at the end of it, I was just like, okay, I'm kind of just bored with this thing. Like, come on now.
I got a story about Xenogears.
Look at who it is. It's Super Nerd. What's up, man?
Make it quick, though.
Hey.
Yeah, make it real fast.
Still to this day, I freaking saved a fight in Xenogears, and I couldn't get out of it, couldn't back out unless I beat the guys. I beat the 3 robots. So my dumbass saved it because that was like my first RPG that I played. And yeah, I saved it because you got to walk around and find somebody that just pop up, whatever. And I saved it like a dumbass, so I can't back out of it and go somewhere else.
So you basically trapped yourself in the spot with an opponent that you can't beat.
Yeah,
and that was the only save you had.
That's the only save I had.
That's why you do multiple saves.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is in that PS1 era when every save took a block of that little 15 blocks you had.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody move on? Tony Young says that Xeno Saga is a prequel to Xenogears.
Interesting.
All right, so it's a prequel to the Xenogears. All right.
Interesting.
Okay.
You give me the gears.
All right, y'all. So we gotta move on to the next topic. So here we go.
Random fandom.
All right, so check it out. So we got random fandom here, and we're gonna talk about Resident Evil 3 and Dragon Ball FighterZ. So let's get to Dragon Ball FighterZ. So season 3, I can't remember if it dropped last week or is dropping this week, but we know that Kefla is it dropped today. Okay, all right. So we know Kefla was the first one confirmed to be on there. Right, so who do we think is going to be the next ones released in season 3? Like who isn't already on there that they could put on there? I mean, I can't see Tapion being on there, but like he's like one of the only ones I think that we haven't seen.
Roshi, because why not pull people from
Ultra Instinct Goku, obviously.
Well, Ultra Instinct Goku is another one, yes, but he's not out yet. But who are the other 3, basically?
I'm just saying because
I can see them probably. I know some folks that are saying that more than likely Topo is going to make it in the game. So
I can see that. I can see that.
So besides him, I could see them maybe probably pulling from some of the other standalone movies a little bit more, and probably. I
mean, like, is there any really good ones left? They already have Jan and
pull
Bob.
more for the tower.
Maybe I don't know. Like I can because I don't know. I don't know if did they put BoJack in the game?
No. But BoJack was so lame as a villain anyway. Why would you?
I mean, he kind of was, but like I think like his look was kind of memorable a little bit. But
I don't know about that.
Oh no, never mind. I'm thinking about Android 13.
Android 13? No, he could be. He could be the one.
He get that nut punch, grab the leg.
Yes. No, he would be one. I would love to get that.
Get that southern
right.
Yes. I never watched
Man,
it.
That dialogue,
dude, the southern voice actor is great.
Because again, remember he had that trucker hat and everything.
Yeah.
So they gave him straight. They went straight like Boss Hog Southerner with it.
Yes.
Those are also movies that, for whatever reason, disappeared out of my collection. Just gone.
No. Before we leave tonight, I'm gonna look that up on YouTube so you see.
You gotta see it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, you gotta see it.
Like the voice actor for him, like went on. It's like they were like it was almost Deadpool. Like they were like, you know what? You put some whatever lines you want, and this dude just went. He just
went with it. He went for
perfect.
Yeah,
wow.
It was so perfect. But like, I honestly would like to see because it's like you already have Beerus in there, and he's a destroyer. Put one of the other destroyers. I definitely want to see Whis. I definitely want to see Whis. But I wouldn't mind like if you go with one of the other destroyers or I think again to keep it familiar, Whis. Put Whis in the game.
I think they're gonna go with Roshi. Dude, why not put Roshi?
No.
in
I'm not
there?
saying don't put Roshi.
Yeah.
Definitely, I would love to see Roshi as well. Especially brought up to his his current look. Give him a mixture of everything he's had throughout the years, like
Jackie
all
Chun.
of his different powers.
You
Give him
put some little Jackie
outfit or
Chun in
something.
there.
Yeah, give him all of his different abilities and whatnot. Put the Mafaba in there and all that stuff. That'd be kind of sweet.
Yeah,
but who knows where they're gonna go with
Top
it?
Pai Pai.
I was thinking about Top Pai
Top Pai
Pai.
Pai. Dude,
Yeah.
somebody
Not the
shared a
robotic
gif
one.
of Top Pai Pai.
Where
You see that?
He was like, boop, and then he kicked the thing, and
Yes.
then he throws it, and he jumps
Oh
on
no,
it. right?
not even that. Not even that. Top Pai Pai
Tell me
was
when he
walking.
did-
Somebody
Yeah.
shot a bullet at him. He slipped his slippers off.
Oh, yeah, I
And the
remember
bullet
seeing
hit it. And the shoe flipped forward. And he just stepped right back into it. I was like, dude, he a G.
Yeah.
He's a G.
It'd be interesting.
Go back
Yeah.
and watch
He was
Dragonball.
broken
Oh, yeah.
for the time.
Yeah, he was.
definitely
Of
broken
course.
for the
Yeah, he
time.
was.
Of course. But I mean,
So,
again, no, go ahead.
No, the only other thing I was saying is that like since I did see that they put GT Goku in there, they're probably gonna pull from GT.
They put GT Goku in there?
Yeah, they did.
Because,
Little
um,
King
Goku,
Goku,
yeah.
yeah.
But I thought it was
So-
just
because
Goku.
Dragon Ball
Anyone to think
Heroes-
Super Saiyan 4.
The only
Okay.
reason, and the only reason I kind of say that because obviously, like Dragon Ball Heroes, I think kind of has like a bit of a following too, and like that's just amalgamation of just
Maybe
every
someone
damn
from
thing.
Dragon Ball Heroes.
So-
Then.
Right.
So they could throw something in there. They could also put a Mega Shenron in it. That would be interesting.
Mega Shenron would be cool. The Trunks from Dragon Ball Heroes would be pretty dope as well.
I mean, real quick. I mean, I played a little bit of it earlier today because like I said, I downloaded it, bought
Right.
the season pass. The season pass, for those who are wondering, is $20. Hey, it's better than the 34 that the original
not
pass
bad.
was.
Look,
That's not bad.
I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to derail this at all, but this game is $60, bro. Okay?
Not
Not
Game is
anymore?
Not anymore.
Not
but it
anymore?
was. It
I'm
was.
saying initially, game
Uh-huh.
$60, and everybody who's been deep in the game paid that $60 for it. I didn't pay $65 for the game because I understand I paid $20 less. I don't remember. But
Right.
regardless of that, okay. Season 1, that's game, all right? Season 2 came out and it was $20, $35,
20, 25,
whatever.
I think.
Okay,
35.
okay. Season 2,
Something like that.
how much?
25.
Season 3, how much?
20.
Have you been
20.
adding that up?
Oh no! Again, that's the industry now.
Yeah.
That's just the way
This
the game.
isn't
I
a
mean,
dead or
that's
alive
over time.
situation.
These
though, right?
these mother lovers need to make this game, put it in the arcade to recoup some of that cost, so people can play in the arcade.
I mean,
And quit
look,
playing
the game has
around.
been out
The
for
industry
2
is-
years, though. dude.
right, the
This is like
industry
them
is
expanding on it
long
over a
past-
2 year
I mean,
period.
This
I
is long
understand
past
that. I get it. I understand that, bro. But it hurts my heart to even think about
All right, so-
$75 after I paid
No, I hear you.
$60.
What you got in the chat after?
Yeah,
I
all right.
get
So,
it.
so we
I
got
understand.
some in the chat. So Eddie, who obviously came to
Oh,
fight
yeah,
night.
Wolverine.
He's a Wolverine. He said
Shout out to Eddie.
He said Paikuan could be a good one.
That could work.
Icon.
Paikuan could be a good one. Let's see. Justin is saying put all the destroyers in there. Tony Young says Surusenin, the Crane Hermit.
Okay.
I mean, but
I mean,
he wasn't all that, you know. So
You could,
I
but
can't see that.
he didn't really do shit though.
Right.
Really.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
So-
fair, but I mean, again, there's always options. I mean, because the thing is, they're going to have at least one female character, probably.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
we
I
got
mean,
Kefka
But they already got
already,
that.
so-
Kefla was first, so they kind of got that.
Okay, whatever. Who knows? I want to see that
I
other
mean-
destroyer.
So wait, so is Kefla is Kefla and Caulifla basically merged?
yeah, they're merged.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this is
really-
the- this
Remember, it was
is the
Kale
fusion
and
form.
and
Kale and okay, wait. Oh, so it's just
Caulifla.
Kefla. Oh, so
yes, it's
it's
just
just
Kefla.
Kefla.
Yeah.
oh, for some reason I thought it was going to be just
no.
Kale and okay.
Nope, she's already
Okay,
fused.
all right. So she's already fused.
Yeah,
All right.
but yeah, moving on to the scary side. Of
Yeah.
things.
So Resident Evil 3. Yeah, you posted this.
Yeah.
Fallon, why don't you take it? Take point.
Okay, so for those of you that have been keeping your ear to the ground, Capcom released the official gameplay and a little bit some story cinematics for Resident Evil 3 remake, and I have to say that it's definitely going to take a familiar route for those of us that have gone through Resident Evil 2, but also featured some other things like Jill has her dodge mechanic. And which more than likely is going to have limitations. I don't see that saving you a whole lot when it needs to, from what I've seen here. And then you've seen some other enemies. I kind of hate we haven't really. I guess they're trying to save to see what the hunters will do for the actual game. So obviously, I don't want to give too much away. But we also did get a better look at how Nemesis plays
Stars
in this game.
No, we got a better
And,
look. We got a better look at how the dude playing the game. Apparently, he hadn't seen Nemesis before.
Man, that guy is bro.
Molly Wop, man.
Like, bro, man, you're not making me want to.
He was getting Molly
All I have to say is, oh my god, this okay. Look, we all kind of sort of took issue with Mr. X, aka Tyrant.
Fuck that dude.
At playing this game, we all gonna be like thinking like Tyrant who? Like who was that?
What is
Nemesis. Nemesis is gonna be a problem.
Nemesis is that dog, man.
This is the thing. Nemesis is the one that I had been waiting for game-wise. I had been waiting for them to remake this one because I really was excited to see what they were going to do with Nemesis. And again, that guy's play style aside of run forward into all the punches instead of running away from Nemesis. It puts you in that true intimidation fact because that's one thing that you could have never gotten out of the original version of the game. I mean, as difficult as it was to battle him and how the mood would change when he was around and he would just bust through a wall and freak you out. You never really got the sense that he's an 8-foot, almost damn near 9-foot tall monster.
Hell no, because that fool is fast.
Right? No, not even just the speed. It's because of the
because the top down.
The perspective.
The perspective was kind of messed up.
Now,
yeah,
and it's just like you're seeing it from that Resident Evil 4 over the shoulder look. It's like. This
holy shit!
Motherfucker is huge, and he's still fast.
Yeah,
so it's like
fast as hell.
So it works.
Will they have the yes and no if you want to fight him? I wonder.
It didn't. No.
Oh no.
There was some text on the screen, but I don't think he had a choice.
That yes or no is you either sit there or you turn around, run away.
Right.
When I was watching that video too, I was like, this guy's trying to run away. Why are you not running fast enough, bro? What is going on?
First of all, in this game, you running away won't make a damn bit of difference.
It doesn't seem like it makes a difference.
He has those tentacles, man. They
even just that. Like you saw how you did that long jump right in front of you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They are truly ramping it up to the point of like now you are really going to be freaking running scared in this game. And whenever if it's gonna be a mood change or a music change like they did in the original game, you're gonna be on your toes. You're gonna be like, oh, hold on. Let me go back to the chest and get all the rockets, all the shotgun shells, all the everything I have because I'm about to get into the shit. That's what I'm glad with this one because it's like just that little quick glimpse of Nemesis and how big he is and how fast he still is. And it's just like, oh yeah, this is going to be all sorts of fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to this.
I look forward to it when it hits that $20 mark.
I know you're going to wait on it. I think it comes out.
I probably play 7 in
I hear you.
2 by.
I hear you because I think it comes out in April.
Which one are you going to play it on? You going to play it on Xbox 360? Because that's how far back you are, right? Resident Evil 7 was.
I do still want to play 6 though because I haven't played 6. I still have that.
No, I think I'm gonna grab it for sure because I beat 2, the remake of 2, so
nice.
I definitely want to get this one and see how it is.
Wait, when does it drop though? When does it drop?
When does it come out?
March or
April.
Really?
Okay.
Read my article.
Okay.
It's coming up soon.
Well, here's the thing though, Dido. If I just suddenly give you one, you ain't got no choice.
Well, I mean, I have a choice to play.
He'll still put it back to the
It's
end
not
of the
like
queue.
I'm doing it on purpose. It's just I sit in the basement, and if you have over 1,000 choices, you're gonna be like, all right, which one I'm playing? I mean, I've been playing Blazing Chrome as of late.
I understand.
Literally, and that's one of the new games I got recently. I've been playing that because
Is this in between sessions of Binding of Isaac?
I haven't played Binding of Isaac in a couple of weeks.
What?
Yeah.
No.
In a couple weeks. I think you played it last week.
No, was I playing it last week?
Yes.
I think you were.
Could have swore you were.
No, if it was last week, I was playing Blazing Chrome. If it was
okay.
here,
Never
I was
mind.
playing Blazing
Okay.
Chrome.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not like I don't play video games. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I'm so hoity-toity. I don't play video games. It's just when I sit in that basement after work, it's just like, okay, I want to play something. Here's what's going through my head. I want to stream everything I played. Did I prepare to stream this? No. Okay. I can't stream it. Do I want to even start playing something that I plan to stream? Because if I do, would people care that I'm not streaming the stuff and then playing it in the middle of the game.
Well,
Okay.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna
Preparation.
turn to the
Well,
no,
there's
no, no.
big
We're
time
gonna
preparation.
turn to the Junkie Nation and let them decide. We're gonna turn this.
Well, yeah, if you guys
we're
tell
gonna
me
turn
the
this into a
games.
game. We're gonna literally turn this
Yeah.
into a game. We're gonna have you go to your. We're gonna have you live stream from your basement one day, and we're gonna have all the Junkie Nation tune in, and they're gonna pick what you play.
Yeah, I mean, I have no
That's
problem with
actually
that.
kind of dope. I like
'Cause,
that idea.
like, you could pick what Dido plays. You're hearing it here. You pick what I play. Right now in my collection, I
You
can
pick
show you.
what I play.
I can. Gosh darn it, because like this
but
is.
you got to give him a finite choice. Though.
Look,
Right, coming soon.
it will be a finite choice,
Coming
but this
soon.
this right here, if you guys check that out right there, if it focus on it,
Can't really see it.
I don't see if it's gonna
Yeah,
focus.
can't
It
It
might.
may focus on it.
Now
No,
Now
no,
we've seen
no,
your contact
no, yeah,
page.
yeah.
Whatever. There's
Yeah, it's like a
1,148 games that's in that friggin' collection, and that goes back to the Atari 2600
you
to
not
current
so you
stuff.
flossing now,
So
okay.
I'm not trying to floss. I'm saying that's
just
what happens.
headache.
And then number two, it depends on like how I'm feeling when I get off work, because I'm sorry, fellas, when you work with old people suck the energy from
I
you. That's how they
agree.
stay alive. It's just like suck it out, like Shang Tsung. That's what they
People at
do.
the gym.
Soul is
I
mine.
told your soul is mine.
Exactly. Why do you think they at the pharmacy all the time? They're for drugs. They're there to suck the life out of the young people.
Wow.
He's not lying.
On that slightly ageist perspective, we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Hold on to your butts when the demo drops. That's all I can say. Ooh-wee.
All right, y'all. So, the WWE has kind of embroiled itself in a slight bit of controversy. Now, we know that it hasn't been as healthy as it's been in recent days. I think Vince took a huge gamble on the WWE streaming service. He gave a lot of fans a really great deal. You can get all of our content, and I mean all of our content, for $9.99 a month. For
All the WWEs.
all the WWEs, and all of their original shows that they had, past matches, all the pay-per-views, right? So word comes out that WWE is looking to move their pay-per-view streaming rights, possibly to ESPN, and bundle it with ESPN Plus. And that's got some fans, kind of in a tizzy, because they're saying that they'll take all the pay-per-views, and this is just rumor, and there's nothing concrete, but they'll take all the pay-per-views off of WWE Network and charge people that don't have ESPN Plus $65 to watch the pay-per-view. Now, this is all rumor.
Okay.
Per pay-per-view?
Per pay-per-view, yeah.
Okay,
And
hold
so,
on.
and again, I have purposes. This is a rumor, right? I don't know if this is true or not. This is a rumor, but I thought it was an interesting topic to bring up, because should the fans really be that pissed that that WWE is looking out for their bottom line when, by all accounts and purposes, a lot of the fans out there have been, sharing their passwords and accounts and stuff like that, and not really paying their fair due. They've had a sweet deal for how long has it been running? For like 2 or 3 years?
It's been at least 3 years.
All right, so do the fans really have a bone to pick with WWE? Go ahead. My bad.
This week in gaming.
Damn, my bad. That's totally my
That's
bad.
right,
Operator
that's
error.
right. Anyway.
Operator error. It happens at least.
That's all right.
Yeah,
No, that's
I'm
all
sorry
right.
about that. Go ahead.
No, it's a double-edged sword, because, okay, let's be real. Years before the network, you had no choice. Either you knew somebody that was going to, buy the pay-per-view at their house.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I used to host WrestleMania parties. Y'all have obviously been to them.
Yeah.
To foot some of the costs, we would, kick in $5 or whatever. Because again, that's, hey, your cable bill is about to get an extra $65 or $70 based on whether or not at the time you were getting HD or SD stream for this pay-per-view. So, and with them doing a pay-per-view every month, it was like, who's buying that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is real. WrestleMania is a special event. Somebody would get that. Dido would do it every now and again. So it was like, yeah, but it was WrestleMania, so it was like, okay, it's kind of a given.
That's
like,
granddad.
that's the big one.
Right.
I can justify spending the the 65, 70 or whatever. Some of the other pay-per-views they've had recently, like Money in the Bank and some of the other ones, it's like I ain't giving you $65 for this.
And now maybe
Yeah.
maybe the rumor was saying that it is for the big shows, the 4 big shows.
But see, here's the problem. It's like okay, it's like dating. Okay.
Here we go.
Analogy.
Here we go.
It's like dating. It's like you go up and you dating a girl and like y'all start off. If you start her off at Shula's, or if you start her off at like one of the big the expensive, super expensive restaurants, we're talking like $100 a plate, type restaurant. Guess what? That's the standard now. That's what's expected. You be like, look, hey, hold on. We talking about Olive Garden.
You said Olive Garden.
Hey, man, keep that same energy you had on the first date.
Right, so
The
I'm
government
saying, so
giving
like,
you the coupons.
and it's like, so if you start off at that high standard, expect to be kept to that standard.
Right.
So what Vince did is he was like, hey, $9.99 a month or whatever, you get everything. And even for new subscribers, you get the free stuff, including WrestleMania, including Royal Rumble, blah, 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 when you first sign up.
Right.
So now that you've done that, that's what people expect. They expect $9.99 a month. I got access to everything. So now all of a sudden you try to bring it back to the way it used to be.
Yeah,
that's a hard sell, man.
I get it, but really, it's like if the fans were the ones really doing if they were supporting the network, right? And I know this is everybody's. I'm not telling people that they have to do it, but if you're going to make this gripe that they're doing us wrong. The numbers aren't there to support the network. They're hemorrhaging money.
But again,
I'm just saying.
That's his. Go ahead, Vaughn.
See, but the way I look at it, and this is from my point of view from being a longtime fan. The thing is, and just so we are correctly distributing the information, the network has been up for 5 years.
5 years.
So it's been up for 5 years. They probably spent the whole year prior advertising it ad nauseum.
Right.
But anyway, for me personally, I tried the free trial, and for the most part, it was cool. But obviously, out the gate, like it had a lot of streaming issues, especially with the live content.
Sure.
But the thing is that one of the things that they promised that like all the stuff would still be there in its original format, which actually technically wasn't true. Because a lot of the stuff that they do have on there, like they have the Raws, they have some of the SmackDowns, they had none of the Nitros, just the pay-per-views, but none of the Nitros, none of the, again, all the stuff they own, we expected it to be on there. And then on top of that, some of the shows, like even their own shows, were edited.
Oh yeah.
Down.
Oh yeah.
And like a lot of stuff was like heavily edited. The ECW stuff was heavily edited.
Okay.
And it was just like, it's like, dude, like, I don't even know. And then, like, again, when you kind of look at the current product, it's like, okay, I'm really paying this so I can watch the stuff that I loved growing up with. But if they're making new content and the new content kind of sucks, I don't want to pay money for this every month.
And that is okay. So that is fair. That is fair, and I totally understand that. It's the same argument people make, for canceling Netflix. Like when the Marvel shows went off, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch what I want to watch, and then I'm done with it." So you cancel it. That's a smart thing to do. Same deal with like everybody complaining about all these streaming services, right? They always say, "Oh, I don't want to pay for another streaming service. This is another streaming service." I was like, "Dude, there's no gun to your head. You don't have to pay it every single month, right?" But there is always that other flip side. If if the content isn't there and it's not being supported, and the company wants to stay open, they have to do what they have to do in order to stay open. And this is it. Yeah. So why get mad at them if they don't have the numbers to support the service? They got to do something to survive. I'm not going to get mad at them for that.
I'm not mad at them because I don't pay them now.
Right. It's like they do, but at the same time, like how I look at it is the fact that it's like maybe it should have been, maybe it just should have been like a better premium kind of situation instead of just trying, because the thing is they're trying to go for Netflix numbers, but the thing is that their audience isn't nowhere near as big as it used to be. Because the thing is that they only have, I think like the subscriber count is only like just over 1 million or something like that.
That's not a lot
like
at all.
Their numbers are abysmal. in comparison to other streaming services. And they were trying to go for that Netflix market, but they weren't having Netflix type content, to be real about it.
And I think again, it goes back to that. That's the problem. Part of the problem with their particular streaming service is their infrastructure for the service. It's like Netflix, and it's like, okay, Netflix, I don't know exactly how many subscribers they have, but it's in the high tens of millions, obviously probably even close to 100 million around the world. They can afford to have people that are leeching.
Hell yeah.
They can afford to deal with, okay, this family is basically spreading the majority of their Netflix account to the entire family or whatever, or friends.
Hell,
or
they
whatever.
give you 4 different profiles.
Right. WWE shouldn't have done that.
No.
That was where they messed up. Because I think even when they first started, you could give it, kind of essentially share it with like 5 or 6 other people. And it's just like, how do you expect to build numbers if one person can piggyback all these other people? And again, we got to look at it realistically. If people aren't fans of wrestling, they're not looking your way to begin with.
Right.
Netflix gets away with the fact that people are either fans of movies, TV shows, original content. They got a whole list of just different stuff that they're they can tie into or hook into. You got wrestling.
That's it.
That it's like, and like Fallen said, you gonna watch the stuff the real nostalgic for Austin 316,
The
Rock
Rock.
and Austin, Rock and Triple H, Rock, Triple H and
Or
all
Ultimate
the,
Warrior. And,
Ultimate Warrior, all the old school
yeah.
stuff. And kind of here's the thing. We've been able to see that on YouTube for years. So, and again, going back to it in its original form. Because one of the things I used to do a lot, with the pay-per-views, because our friend Tom, is he still out of town?
He's in
Japan.
He lives in Japan.
Oh, he lives in Japan now. Okay, Big Tommy Styles, big shout out to you, brother. It's like we used to go over his house a lot and watch
All
the
the
pay-per-views. So it's just like, and what I would do, especially if it was a really good one, if it was just like that Royal Rumble where Taka got thrown out the ring and landed on his face. Royal Rumble 1995, I believe.
Yeah.
When he got just thrown out, as soon as that came out, I went out to the video store and bought that. So a lot of the pay-per-views that were really good, I owned them on video or DVD or whatever it may be. So I have them in their true original form with all the original licensed music. If somebody came out to like Limp Bizkit or whatever, was it replaced?
And it wasn't,
You know what I'm saying? So all of that, and then also. Like, for example, that one SummerSlam we watched when Goldberg slipped.
Oh, yeah, they edited that out of there.
Right away. They edited it out, but the only way you can see the original version of that is YouTube.
Right.
No,
or
the DVD
YouTube?
was edited.
The DVD. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because I took it over to Dido's house. So I was like, dude, we gotta rewatch that. I took it over. We got there. It was like, they cut to the crowd. No, dude. No, it's like we were mad as hell. But YouTube
like
lets
that's
you
one
see
of
the
the things
original
that
thing.
annoyed me so much, is like how heavily edited it was. That's kind of part of the reason why, and I really hated that. Like I got rid of my In Living Color DVDs because they were heavily edited.
Oh,
and
wow.
It was just like, it's like some of the funniest episodes in season 3 were not on there because they apparently Fox didn't want to pay for the licensing or whatever. So I think all except for maybe the first 2 seasons probably aren't as heavily edited, but everything after that is edited like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's what bothers me with content like this, especially streaming content that you're paying for. It's like, look, I get it. If there's certain things that, again, licensed music industry is so freaking cutthroat. You almost got no choice. It's like, look, you ain't paying them an extra couple of $1 million just to use a song from 5 years ago.
Just go ahead and pay that $5.
Just replace the music, whatever. But like entire episodes of stuff, nah, dude. If I'm buying it to see what I originally saw. So I can, relive those moments and enjoy it. But it's like if you're editing stuff out, and again, the Chris Benoit thing, I get it. As a company, they're distancing themselves.
They got to.
But damn it, he had some of their best stuff.
Yeah, he did.
And when
He
you go
really
through it,
did.
when you're scrubbing through some of those pay-per-views, you see this giant block of no bookmarks. It's like, oh, that must be a Benoit match. You know what I'm saying? So it's annoying to have to go through stuff and search stuff search through stuff because they're distancing themselves from this amazing performer who, obviously horrible thing that he did.
Horrible thing,
but it's just like, dude, the service itself is kind of annoying in that regard.
Right.
And it's like, in all honesty, I can't remember the last pay-per-view I watched.
All right, so 2 minutes. So 2 minutes. Sum it up, y'all. Do you think the fans have reason to gripe if WWE is really just looking out for their best interests to kind of stay alive and keep giving them product.
Dude, seriously, if they don't look out for the best interest, they are going to go away. And
Right.
then what do the fans have?
Exactly.
I mean, they would have to
They'll
move
say,
on to
you know what they'll
something
say?
else.
They'll say we got AEW.
Yeah, but it's still. I mean, I did hear that, and I don't know the whole entire thing of it. That Jeff Bezos was either wanted to buy something of the WWE. I don't know if it was the company or their back catalog or do something. And I mean, he's rich enough to buy. There's nothing on this planet he
Hey, man,
can't buy.
Bezos was going to buy the Lions. Remember?
Yeah, what I heard supposedly.
so,
but
I'm just saying.
move him to Seattle or some shit.
You know the Seahawks are there, right?
Yeah, so what? Have
Okay.
two teams because you can't.
Just saying.
Well, regardless, going back to it, if you don't try to support them, they go away. That's what happens quite often.
Right.
So if people are going to complain about this stuff, I understand why you're going to complain about it.
I get it. Yeah.
But if you like their product, support it, because if you don't, it's going to go bye-bye.
Exactly.
That's true.
Right.
And if you don't want to, you could just wash your hands of the company like I did. So.
You can do that too, like I did.
Yeah, you
I don't
can
pay
do
for
that
the
too.
pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Raw in forever. I haven't seen a lick of wrestling in forever. And you know what?
It's just not good to me anymore.
Exactly.
It's
And I'm
not
not
good.
missing out.
Yeah,
on
it's
this
just not good to me
Just
anymore.
to tie it, yeah, go ahead.
No, just to say, like I've been meaning to get back into like watching some AEW, and I even like some Lucha Underground. But I think like as far as like just being a pro wrestling fan, it kind of hurts to be one right now almost. So it's like it's all for the kids now.
I mean, again, and they're a publicly traded company. He's got XFL that I think he's focusing on, honestly.
Which is actually surprising, really
Right.
good. Really good.
And it's hilarious to see that circle come all the way back around again after we went through it the first time.
I know,
But,
right?
and again, real quick, I understand where he's coming from, trying to boost the money, but it's like you've already given people a taste of everything for cheap. Now you're trying to go back to the old model. That's really difficult. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, like you said, it's kind of a rumor at this point. So, yeah, and in the months to come, we'll see what the facts end up being.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
I
so
will.
no,
I
go
will
ahead.
not,
No, finish your
Brian.
thought.
I will not, Brian. I will not go back to NXT. I'm sorry, I can't.
He's telling you to go back to NXT.
He's trying to suck me back in because of NXT, but it's like, no, it's still under WWE, fam. I know what happens to those guys when they go up to the main roster. I'm straight.
Okay. All right, y'all. So it's 10:15. Y'all know what time it is. Let's hit it.
The main event.
All right, so check it out. So the main event today is dealing with DC and their massive gamble that they're taking, right? So spinning out of recent news, longtime co-publisher of DC Comics or DC Entertainment, Dan Didio was, lack of a better term, he was fired. They say he mutually parted ways with the company, but no, he was fired. And there's been a lot of noise about why he was fired, and some people attributed part of it to this very, very ambitious new storyline that they're getting ready to launch, which is called Generation 5. And spinning out of it is going to be a radical, and I cannot stress this word enough, radical change to the DC Comics narrative, which will see the aging out of some classic heroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. Their roles will be filled by newer, younger people, and this change is supposedly permanent. Now, a lot of people have a lot of, shall we say, issues with a lot of that, because they're pretty much going to thrust this on us. They're not going to have this be an organic thing that comes spinning out of a narrative that grows over the course of years. No, it's going to be a time jump, and you're just kind of stuck with what happens after that. I'm going to give you a few more details as it goes along, but suffice to say, they're going to replace Bruce Wayne as Batman with Luke Fox.
That's interesting.
A black man.
Oh, wow.
So the son of Lucius Fox.
I mean,
yeah.
I
So,
have no
right.
problem with
so,
that, but,
so, so this one doesn't hurt as much. Clark is not going to be Superman anymore. His son Jonathan is going to be Superman. There's nothing wrong with that. I have no idea who Wonder Woman is supposed to be. Probably maybe Cassie Sandsmark. Since she is Wonder Girl.
Sandsmark.
Yeah, since she is Wonder Girl right now. and Aquaman is supposed to be replaced possibly by Jackson Hyde / Calderon in the books, or maybe I think Garth is still alive in the comics right now, or maybe he'll be Aquaman. I have no idea, but basically, there's a lot of sweeping changes going on, and there's a lot of apprehension in the DC editorial. In fact, a lot of people quit because of DDO's heavy-handed micromanagement of the situation. But when you hear what's been going on with, what's going on with Generation 5, this is a massive gamble because they're doing this basically to entice new readers and give them new characters to kind of follow along and grow with. But they did this with the New 52 when they reset the story, and it didn't work. They pretty much just reset all the changes. In fact, this Generation 5 is going to be the full restoring of everything that happened before Flashpoint. So, what do you guys think about everything that's going on here that you hear?
That is quite the hell of a gamble now that you explain it that way, and it's kind of funny because I was actually discussing something similar to this, and this is like before I discovered the whole G5 thing or whatever, 5G, whatever the hell you want to call it, but I was like saying like how like say for instance like 20 years from now and they want to do something with Captain America or something, it's like and we know like how they have to modernize certain characters, and it's like wondered like if they would like wind up doing that with him like 20 years from now to where like maybe he fought like instead of World War II he fought in Vietnam or something, whatever, like just kind of like update a little bit more, because at this point not too many people are going to have like very, memory of World War II because, it'll be so long ago. So, but in this case where it's just like kind of really doing like a really huge permanent thing like that, especially with staple characters, like to that degree, that's gonna be interesting. And one of the other things I thought that was kind of crazy when I was looking at some of the people as far as the roster goes, Captain Cold Jr. is the new Flash.
That's one of the changes, yeah.
I don't know what the story is behind that one.
Neither do I, because I don't know of a Captain Cold Jr. even in the books right now. So I'm just saying.
So yeah, that's hey, I don't know what they trying to do over there, but that's
that's wild. That's wild.
A gamble is one way to express.
Yeah.
To express it.
So what's your take on it, Dido?
Well, me being somebody who, and I'm always going to have to preface this because
I don't read comic books.
I don't read the mainstream ones. I do like to read comic books. I've always liked to read comic books. It's just like I've always stated in the past, it's kind of hard to get into them if you don't start from the beginning. I'm the type of person who needs to start at a certain point from the beginning of something, and it's just too convoluted unless I talk to my comic book nerd friends like you.
So
or
in a way, this story is supposed to speak to you.
Fine.
Right.
It'd be fine. I'd rather get the thick books.
The graphic novels.
I'd rather do something like that to read them all at once. But I like progression of almost anything.
So do I.
I don't find a problem with progressing stuff because Batman has been Batman since the 20s.
For 80 years, dude.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we know. You can't just keep taking the same story and moving it every decade or every decade, because that doesn't make any sense. So like in the year 2021, is Batman still going to be the same Batman? Bruce Wayne's parents were killed, blah, blah, blah. No, it's fine to move on, progress. The thing is that nerds, some of them have a hard time moving on. There's a lot of them out there that just, for whatever reason, can't accept a new story. That makes no sense to me. Be it Star Wars, be it comic books, be it anything. Just why can't you just enjoy the new story? The old stuff is not going to go away. You can still read the old stuff. You can still enjoy the old stuff. You can read the new stuff. You can do the new stuff and enjoy both. You can have your cake and eat it too, and some pie if you want to. Just come on.
I totally hear you. It won't be canon, Dido.
Oh my gosh, it won't be canon. I don't know what I gotta do.
What's your take, GQ?
Like, come on.
Here's the thing. I took some books in to get graded last week, so that's my extent of dipping into comic books recently. In all honesty, it is what it is. they're gonna do this. They're gonna let it go for 2 years. They're gonna realize people hate it. They're gonna, just like the New 52, they're gonna reboot it again. So I guess it seems like they ain't trying to be reliant on Batman for everything anymore. Because they're gonna throw a black Batman in charge.
Yeah, good.
We ain't gonna see them more
Dude,
Batman movies.
can you
Imagine if they try to do that with a movie?
Imagine?
They probably will. They're
Can
probably
you
going to do it in a
imagine?
movie.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you finally gonna get your wish. DC
The
is gonna get away
retirement
from
of
their
Bruce
their
Wayne.
bat crutch.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And I'm glad you said it that way. Bat crush. Anyway,
Well, you
go
know,
ahead.
but no, realistically though, it's like they're gonna try this and it's gonna fail. I'm just gonna be straight up. I'm gonna go on record right now. They're gonna do this, and it's not gonna be as permanent as they. Because again, there's something iconic about Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman. You know these characters, and again, I've always joked about it. There's babies being born right now that already know Superman's origin story coming out the womb. They don't even have to. It's already ingrained in everybody's head as they're born. Everybody knows his story. So I get trying to get away from that and do something different. But at the same time, if you're going to act like those characters do not exist at all and stop writing stories for those original characters, that is going to piss some people off. That is going to get a lot of people to like, dude, I
just would like to understand it. I really wish I could.
Okay.
Because it's still there.
No. I get that. But, like, okay, for example, let's say Superman is your favorite character, just for whatever reason. That's your dude. If they're telling Superman stories, like, okay, let's say Clark Kent Superman is, the original whatever. So they're telling his stories, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? We're not going to do any more stories with this character, Superman, going forward. So if you were in the middle of an arc that you liked, or something that was, a story that was being told, and they're like, no, fuck, we're cutting that off. We're going over
And
here.
they tried
with this
that when
other
they killed
dude
him. They tried that when they killed
this
him.
new dude, and we're going forward from here.
Right.
And that story is completely unresolved.
And they tried that
so
when they
it's
killed him.
Pirates
Yep.
of Dark Water all over again.
If they don't end it, then I get it.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, no, for real. They're acting as if he doesn't exist anymore. So, like, now it's over here, and we're going forward with this guy, and we're leaving all of that unresolved stuff.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of comic book fans get into, because, like, for example, you had that, what was it, Batman, was it Master Race or something? It's not Master Race. It was something...
Dark Knight 3, the Master Race.
So it's like you have Batman in the middle of that. If all of a sudden, as a reader, like, oh, dude, this is sweet, cool, and you're getting into that, and all of a sudden you're like, nope, cut it off. We're going over here. Luke Fox, that's the new Batman. We're telling stories with this guy. And it's
Right, and you're right. That's the part that kind of bothers a lot of people about this whole thing going on, especially because, like I said, it's not going to be an organic thing. It's going to just be a sudden time jump to where, okay, now Luke Fox is Batman.
So
deal with it.
They're not freaking
not
resolving
tying up
any
loose-
story.
yeah, they're not tying up
Well,
loose ends.
I can understand when your story is not being tied up. You want to see what's
Right.
going to happen, because that's like watching a goddamn TV show, and then you're like, at the last few episodes.
What was that, Mortal Kombat Annihilation? Where that shit was just over?
No, that was a Mortal Kombat.
No, that was
Conquest.
Conquest.
And
But it just killed everybody. It was just
and
over.
it just freaking
It's like,
ends
what?
or something like that. I can understand that, because it's happened to us in anime, or
Right.
something that you're watching and you want more of it, and you don't get more. But I never got butthurt to the point where I was like, fuck all anime. I don't ever watch anything from this director.
Right. No, I hear you.
It's just like, okay, I'm a little bit upset with that. I'm gonna move on to something else. But I guess that's me.
No, but you're right. But that part of it is why I think a lot of people are very apprehensive about what they're doing with this story, because I think they'd be fine with these changes if it happened organically and a lot of these stories were wrapped up. Like the whole thing with Tom King and with Batman and Catwoman, right? Batwoman, basically that story. What I liked about that story is it actually evolved Bruce's character. It basically had him deal with his trauma of being, his parents being murdered head on, and him basically choosing to stay in the darkness and stuff like that. He and Catwoman actually forged a real relationship where they actually worked out their issues, where they actually said, I have a lot of pain. Well, she's like, I have a lot of pain too. But basically they learned to come together. They fell in love. They really were committed to one another. They were going to get married, right? And they didn't end up getting married. But when they spent that time apart, they did a lot of growing. Like Bruce did more growing in doing that than I had seen him do in a long time, right? And then when they came back together, they said, yeah, we don't have to be married, but we're still committed to each other. I'm for you, you're for me. We're together. Batman and Catwoman, they love each other. She helps him save Gotham and stuff like that. Yeah, she does still do her stealing thing, but it's always in in the context of doing something good for the city of Gotham, because now she's one of Gotham's protectors along with her man, the Batman, which is cool. I love that part. And then they they tease that she's pregnant now with his kid.
I did see
so that's progression. People like seeing that. I like seeing that. I don't like it when they reverse those kind of changes. Like, the one thing that really pissed me off? I was an avid collector of Amazing Spider-Man. They did one thing that just made me quit. And that was Brand New Day.
Brand New Day.
Brand New Day was spinning out of Civil War, right? Peter betrayed Tony. He left, right? Everybody knew who he was because he publicly outed himself as Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Kingpin sent an assassin to go kill him. Hit Aunt May.
Oh yeah, I do remember
Right?
hearing about that.
He goes to the prison,
Living crap out.
beats the shit out of Kingpin in front of everybody. That was some of the dopest shit I had seen Peter ever do, right? He's dealing with the fallout of that, makes a fucking deal with the devil. Mephisto says, save my aunt. Mephisto's like, I'll save your aunt, but you have to sacrifice your marriage. And Mary Jane lets him do it.
Oh, wow.
So they get rid of Peter and Mary Jane's marriage. They were never married according to the comics now.
Oh,
never.
Wow.
Never married. That almost pregnancy that she had never happened. All that shit that happened.
You know what? Speaking of that, that one of the things that made that much worse is that he actually made them see their daughter right before he finally.
Yes! Yes!
I was like,
Mephisto was a G for that, though.
Dude!
And again, this goes back to the Marvel, not so much trope, but tradition of long-term booty calls with guys named Peter. So there you go. They're keeping it real.
Yeah, but that, like, literally, when they did that and they were willing to wipe out all of that just to reset it for people that says, oh, we like the swinging bachelor Spider-Man and the guy that's always down, and I was like, fuck that, man. I want a Spider-Man that actually progresses and grows and be like, when they kind of restored my faith a little bit. Yes, Brand New Day, they did some great stories with it, but it wasn't anything that they couldn't do without keeping the marriage. They could have. The same thing with Flashpoint.
Just because it's supposedly drastic.
Well, here's how I look at it, and this is what's always kind of bugged me with, and I know we're getting near the end of the show, but here's what's always bugged me with a lot of the companies. It's like, look, if you want to make these drastic changes, do a whole nother imprint and a whole nother line. You can still keep on the other, because again, that's the reason that you have so many different Superman books, so many different Batman books.
And the reason why I don't read them.
I don't know, and again, and that's cool, but it's like Detective Comics, Batman, and all the different versions was like different. They were different.
Different stories.
And sometimes they were just different stories going along.
Yeah.
Every now and again, big event. Yeah, you got to tie them all in together. All these books are going to cover this one particular story. But at least with like X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, you had the teams were doing two different things, going on about their business, doing whatever. And if you needed them to come together, you could, big event, bring them all together, Executioner Song, Fatal Attraction, all blah, blah, blah. But it was just like, with this particular thing, it's just like, no, skip that. We're cutting all of it out. That to me is kind of a slap in the face for people that may be reading and continuing along with something that they've liked. And now you're like, no, all of it's gone. We're completely switching it up. And yes, like you said, you could always go back and read the old stuff. But if you want to go past what you've already got,
you should out of luck.
You're out of luck,
right?
And that's a hard thing for me to
Right, and I get that, but to your point, what you were saying about how a lot of this younger generation, the readers that they're trying to attract, are the people that read anime. And part of the reason why they read anime is because anime has a definitive beginning, a definitive middle, a definitive end. Once it's over, it's over.
For the most part.
That's it. So that's it, and then they can move on to the next story. It's hard to do that with iconic characters like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, right? Because everybody recognizes who they are and who they've always been, and you can't let that go. That same argument happens with Peter Parker and Miles Morales. Everybody's like, "Oh, we want Miles Morales to be in the movies. He should be the Spider-Man in the movies." And I'm like, that'll never happen. It'll never happen.
Probably won't.
In live action, it'll never happen. At least not right now. Like Miles would have to become a character that's been around for at least maybe 30 years before he gets a live action movie over Peter. And even then, I bet you Peter will be in there somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I bet you he will be.
Because whatever they do with the current run or whatever, like he'd be partnered up with Peter at this point. He's not going to do a solo right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
so you think that it
But
has to
it's
have.
a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Hello.
hey. She's
Hello.
returned. She's returned.
You were
I
gonna
have
see
a
me?
What's
for
up?
the Matrix.
Yeah.
So are you saying like so Miles and Peter can't ever do what
Spider-Verse.
like what is going on with like Cap and Falcon
The only reason I
in the
don't,
movie in live action?
I'm not saying that it couldn't happen. But then remember what you just pretty much said. What I said what was going to happen is that if Miles is in a movie, Peter's going to be there because because for those fans that recognize and only acknowledge Peter Parker as Spider-Man, they're going to basically turn off of those. They're basically going to have to cater to both fan bases. You know, as much of a cop out as that is,
as we know it right now, and as what's said in the streets is that Falcon, as we know in the movie, is now Captain America, right?
Yes, but
Yes, but
they've even said in the Disney Plus thing that he has not taken on the mantle of Captain America. He hasn't even accepted it. He doesn't even know if he wants to be Captain America. So there is that.
But they have already they've already put it in stone that
Yeah.
as in Steve Rogers has passed the torch, right? And he is no longer that guy. So you would never see, and as convoluted as they could make it, like with, whatever happens with Peter is like with the Spider-Verse, it was literally a different verse. Excuse me, but Miles was still the center of the story. Fine, Peter being in the background or anything like that. Miles is Spider-Man still.
Yep.
Yes. He is Spider-Man in his own right. It's just that weird thing to where it's like people still have that connotation whenever they see Spider-Man or hear Spider-Man, they think Peter Parker, not Miles Morales. You have that mindset.
You gotta remember, new generations are coming up. So we got Gen Z right now who they have an idea. Most of them know who Spider-Man is, and they know Peter Parker, but there's a larger amount of them, especially ones that are into the more current
they're growing. Yeah,
they know Miles as Spider-Man.
Well, there's always the thing where you have to train your audience. So if they're going to bring Miles Morales to the forefront, then they will. They'll just do it. Like same thing they did with the Falcon and Cap thing. It's like, look, Cap is like, look, man, Peggy back here looking pretty hot, and
I need to hit that.
I'm trying to get my groove on before
So that's my point, though. Like, I would never say that, it'll never happen, because guess what? We will one day be the boomers.
Oh, of course. I will never ever say it would never.
Right.
You never say never.
And even I never said never. I said
no.
it's
You
gonna
said
take a
no.
while.
You said never.
No, I said.
Well, watch on the playback. You said
I said it would take a long while, and even then, Peter's gonna be there.
You said never.
He's never gonna be the only. He's never gonna be the only Spider-Man.
Look, this is on video. This is on video.
He's never going to be the only Spider-Man. That's what I said. He's never going to be the only one.
You just said, but now you're talking about you just never say never.
Wow.
No, you didn't say that. But anyway.
Never say never. Never.
Isn't that the song?
Yeah. Never say never again on the unofficial Bond movie remake of Thunderball.
You were saying, Mian, before in last comments before we
I mean, I like to see new versions of all the comic books, comic book characters. Great, fantastic. Bruce Wayne has been around 80 years. Congratulations. It's time for him to die, because people die when they're over 80.
Right.
So,
Not Batman. Not with prep time. He's going to be aging. I bet you.
Exactly. Batman has got, a deal with death.
Yep. Prep time. Prep time.
See, the thing with Bruce is that's going to be a hard thing.
Who can take his position? So.
Yeah, Bruce retiring is going to be a hard pill for a lot of Bat fans.
A lot of people to swallow. Hey, man,
dude. Maybe after Pattinson's film.
already kind of made a story.
Because, dude, it's like, come on. They had the ball. Tom King had the balls to kill Alfred. Spoiler alert. and he's staying dead. So
I get that, but I mean,
and that's progress. I like
once,
that.
Once Pattinson's film sucks, then they'll get rid of Bruce Wayne.
you just taking that that is gonna happen, huh?
Dude, I don't
For their
care,
sake,
man.
I hope that movie does decent because
Man, I hope it does good.
just not to sidetrack too much. I did finally recently see Birds of Prey, and that was yeah, that they could have did something different with that one.
Audience, so hey.
Look,
No.
I have
That had nothing
sympathy.
to do with me being a target audience. I watched it as an actual film from beginning,
Okay.
middle, and the end. That movie has problems. That movie has
Oh,
problems.
no question. No
It's
question.
not
It has problems.
it's not the worst thing in the world, but that
No.
movie has problems.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
But
it's
see,
not.
You didn't start it with, oh, it was a good movie, but
Yeah,
it
he
has
was like-
problems. You started it.
No. I said it wasn't the most terrible thing I've ever seen. I just said it had
Well, you
problems. The
said
movie
that
is not.
after I objected.
I wouldn't say the movie is good. Like it's
But I
just.
wouldn't say it was
okay.
bad either, right?
It's just okay. It's
Yeah.
like somewhere in the middle. It's just all right.
And there's nothing wrong
Like
with
it's
that. There's nothing
it's-
wrong with that.
Yeah.
kind of just take. You're either on the positive side of it, or on the negative side
Here's
of
what
it.
I
For
can
me,
say
I'm
about
on
it.
the I'm on the
Oh
I'm
my
on the
God.
negative side of it
Here
being
you
You're
go.
okay.
literally in the middle, though. You're literally in the middle, so you can't say.
But I am leaning
that way.
toward the negative side though.
I'll put
That's,
it- I'll
that's
put it
still
to
fair
you.
to say.
All right.
Birds of
GQ, last
Prey.
words.
Birds of Prey was a film that was showed in theaters. That's the most I can give it.
That's the best you can say
That's
about
the
it?
best I can give it.
Okay.
It was in fact shown
I
in
mean, that's
theaters.
how I feel about. Well, I won't go down the list because that's a longer conversation. That
Batman
will
v Superman?
no.
Suicide
That
Squad?
will
Thor:
that
Dark
will.
World.
Joe the Hex?
Well, we'll talk about that after the show.
You're right. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Well, because like I said, it will upset the panel for me to say the ones I'm just like it was okay. It
Won't
wasn't.
upset me.
Oh, here we go.
That's fine.
Okay,
No,
all
I'm
right.
good, I'm good.
So I will spare the rest of Junkie Nation from hearing kind of the blasphemy that's getting ready to come out of Miao Yin's mouth. I have no idea what it is, but I'm sure it's going to be something extremely upsetting, maybe to me. So anyway, we hope you've had a great time watching episode 201 of Culture Junkies Live. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and go over to our YouTube and subscribe so you can watch all of our latest videos and actually watch the replay of this one where I did not say that Miles would never be Spider-Man in the movies. I said he would never be the only Spider-Man. That's just what I'm saying. And also make sure that you come back next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central for episode 202 of Culture Junkies Live. And also make sure you, well, actually I've given you a lot of CTAs, but lastly, and this is really last, we got some really great stuff that's getting ready to launch, so make sure you kind of pay attention to all of our social media on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we don't have anything else that's really important anyway. Oh, we do have a TikTok, but it hasn't been launched yet.
Yeah.
So but so anyway, make sure you kind of follow us on all our social channels. And come back next week for another great episode of Culture Junkies Live for my friends GQ, Great Data Kuji, Follow Marvel, Miao Yin, and Super Nerd who checked in for a few minutes. I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week. Hope you have a great one.
Great evening.
See you in 7 days.
Good night, all you happy people.